Donald Trump just got reminded that he doesn't and isn't going to get to be the dictator he really wants to be when he takes over this country on January 20th, 2025. In this breaking story, I'm going to show you in just a few seconds. Shockingly to Trump, his boys, at least the one who's now the Republican Senate Majority Leader, are not going to let Daddy Donnie have his way when it comes to the almighty filibuster. Take a listen to what he said and what's been spoken about in this breaking story. I'm going to show you in just a few seconds. Take a look.
You need to represent them on the border, on taxes, on health care, one vote, and on every other issue that affects their lives. And for our friends in the Senate, we have to get rid of what's called the filibuster rule. And if we don't, the Republicans will never get anything passed. You're wasting your time. We have to get rid of the filibuster rule. Right now, we need 60 votes, and we have 52 Republicans. That means that 8 Democrats are controlling all of this legislation. We have over 200 bills.
Yeah, there's a reason for that, Donald, because running the country isn't being the CEO of your own company.
With Republicans in control of the House, the Senate, and the Oval Office, not to mention a conservative-leaning Supreme Court, President-elect Trump has a pretty clear road to pursue his legislative goals. Pretty clear, but not obstacle-free. Democrats still have a major line of defense. It is the dreaded F word. That's right, the filibuster. I don't know if you were thinking about that one, Tony.
It didn't get my attention, bro.
I saw you look up. Also known as senators' ability to speak at great length, so much so that they prevent the chamber from voting on a bill. And they can do so with flair, like when Texas Republican Ted Cruz invoked Dr. Seuss in a 2013 filibuster as he tried to block funding for Obamacare.
Do you like green eggs and ham? I do not like them, Sam I am. I do not like green eggs and ham.
Cruz ended up speaking on the Senate floor where Democrats had the majority for 21 hours. Now, come January, Republicans will have a 53 to 47 majority in the Senate, so Democrats can use the filibuster to delay them from advancing pieces of Republican-led legislation. That is, unless there's something called cloture. Yes, it is a wonky word, but stick with me here. Cloture is a procedure that allows 60 votes to squash a filibuster, ending debate over a bill and clearing the way for a final vote. That means there has to be further negotiation and ultimately bipartisan agreement of at least 60 votes to move forward.
The filibuster, the 60-vote threshold, protects the minority party. It's the one lever of power they maintain if the other party takes control of the Congress and the White House. And every party is concerned about giving it up for the day that they're in the minority and need it.
So in this breaking story, look what new Senate Majority Thune from South Dakota just said again about what he intends to do in holding that 60-vote threshold line. Here you go. Breaking news, as new Senate gets underway, Thune vows to uphold Senate filibuster. Thune's comments came just after the Senate gavelled in to begin its new session. In his maiden floor speech, as Senate Majority Leader, Senator John Thune of South Dakota used his first few minutes of the floor time to make a commitment to defend the filibuster rule, which requires at least 60 votes to pass legislation in the Senate. In quotes, "One of my priorities as leader will be to ensure that the Senate stays the Senate," Thune said. That means preserving the legislative filibuster, the Senate rule that today has perhaps the greatest impact on preserving the founders' visions of the United States Senate. Thune's comments came just after the Senate gavelled in to begin its new session. In this new Senate, Republicans have 53 seats, a 3-seat majority that gives them a comfortable edge in confirming President-elect Donald Trump's nominees to the cabinet and the federal bench, since these nominations only require 50 votes for confirmation. But the Senate rules currently require 60 votes to pass legislation. If Thune holds true to his commitment to uphold this rule, that means the majority of legislative matters will require the buy-in of at least 7 Senate Democrats or independents who caucuses with the Democrats. It keeps compromise front and center in the upper chamber.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. It's a new day in the United States Senate, and it's a new day in America. We will make sure that the President and his team have the tools and the support that they need. I'm excited to get to work with this team right away. And I want to thank my colleagues who placed their faith in me to serve as leader, and to those who were supporting another candidate. I promise to be a leader who serves the entire Republican conference.
Thune's speech Friday afternoon is not the first time that he's made a commitment to uphold the Senate's 60-vote threshold, which Democrats unsuccessfully attempted to sidestep to pass voting rights legislation in 2022. Thune made the protection of the filibuster part of his campaign to become majority leader and has since spoken on the floor the same. Thune's comments on the floor today signal that he won't cave to Trump if the president-elect grows frustrated by the Senate's inability to swiftly move legislation that does not have any Democratic support and once again mounts a pressure campaign to change the rule. In quotes, unfortunately today there are a lot of people out there who would like to see the Senate turn into a copy of the House of Representatives, and that is not what our founders intended or what our country needs, Thune said. The whole point that the founders had was, regardless if you have a 51-seat majority in the Senate, the whole point of having a filibuster is to force both sides to work together and compromise, because you're an elected public official. You're not a dictatorial autocrat like you want to be, Donald J. Trump. Now, of course, I'm going to remain concerned that I have a hard time believing anything that a Republican says anymore who's an elected official in this government under Donald J. Trump, because no different than the Supreme Court justices, 3 of them that were confirmed under the supposed, Roe v. Wade, that's settled law. That's weird. And now it no longer is. So yes, I have a hard time necessarily believing that Thune won't get pressure to try and end the filibuster. But the problem is, if you ever do it, as you already heard, it can also swing the other way against you when you're in the minority. Folks, stay smart, stay calm, keep talking, and stay frosty.